So it sounds like you do a lot of activism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right there. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it fell into my lap. It fell into my lap. I didn't set out to. This is not something, like nonprofit work and stuff like that. It's not really my thing. I'm more of a.
Well, you're doing it
Yeah,
anyway.
I know. Like I'm going to school for like counseling. I want to be a therapist.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's what I want to do.
Oh, okay.
That's the kind of help. That's how I want to. That's what I want to give.
Yeah, well, that's very direct. I
Yeah.
can see you doing that very successfully.
Thank you. That
Yeah,
means a lot.
yeah. You're very generous and warm-hearted, I can
Oh,
tell.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That means
totally.
a lot to me. Thank
No,
you.
it's true.
I can't hear that enough because growing up I felt so invisible and unwanted. So thank you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so the nonprofit, this whole thing, it's a big project, it's meaningful, but I never really asked for it.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it just
It's kind of thrust on you
yeah,
almost.
yeah.
But you're taking responsibility for it,
Yeah.
and it sounds like you're doing really great things, and you're trying to figure out why there's some kinks in it, why it's not
Yeah.
quite going the way you want
Yeah.
to, which is difficult. That's difficult
Yeah.
work. That's community work. It's very
yeah,
difficult.
it's true. And there's I forgot, but it's it's a puzzle piece we don't have yet, and we didn't think we would have it. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of activism and stuff, have you ever done any kind of activism, or I know you do some you do have some extracurricular activities we've talked about a little bit off camera, and do you want to talk about that, or what do you think?
Honestly, I feel like I haven't been a part of the community or even in Houston long enough to really have that much of a connection with people to get into those spaces
Sure.
that much, but I'm also
Well, you're providing space today. That's
true.
something.
Yeah.
You
I'm
invited.
trying, yeah.
Yeah, this guy
Yeah.
invited people that he didn't even know into his house, more than us, and we had some people flake out maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that, but they canceled at kind of last minute, which is fine. But I mean, that's really cool. I mean, and you have such a nice place, so it's really nice that you offered.
Yeah, I wanted to give the opportunity for more voices than my own to be heard.
Yeah.
So.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, do you want to talk about music or anything like that? Because I noticed you do have a lot of instruments and things around here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing piano and I had private lessons till I was 18. So
Okay.
I was pretty advanced with that.
Mm.
That's my goal, is to eventually have a piano,
Okay.
even if it's just a upright or
An
a used
upright, yeah.
piano. I just want to, save up enough to get that
Yeah, yeah.
for myself. Yeah, that would be really nice.
I once walked into somebody's house, and I'm not like a fancy person at all. Sometimes I'm wowed by fancy things, though. And they actually had a grand piano in their living room. And I was
An actual
like,
grand piano.
yeah, like it was, one
Not
of those.
just a baby grand? Or...
It might have been
Oh,
that,
okay,
because
yeah.
I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
But it was black and shiny and beautiful, and it was partly open, and I think they were even playing at some point some classical music or something, and I was like, I was so impressed with that.
I mean, that would be nice.
Yeah.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah, right. You might need a little bit bigger place.
Yeah.
Although this is very nice. This is earlier I was saying I haven't watched TV for like a year, and I felt like I was being spoiled. I watched some TV and ate pizza and soda pop, and
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you could come.
yeah, I've been traveling around and whatever for a year with my dog in my car, and so it's nice to just land for half a second.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you're traveling
Yes. I'm
So I was
traveling
gonna
dry.
ask, do you stay in hotels or motels or
No. Truck stops, Planet Fitness parking lots, sometimes just waysides.
Yeah.
Like there's just
Oh, so
pull
you just
offs.
sleep in your car?
Yeah. There's
Oh.
pull offs on country roads.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I got an air
No.
mattress if you want.
No. No, I'm fine actually. Yeah, and it's been okay. We've camped a couple times too in places where there's okay camping. In fact, I was going to camp in the Rocky Mountains and Idaho and all that, and I was really looking forward to that. But a friend of mine offered me a job, and it includes housing, and they have Icelandic horses up there, and I'm just gonna love it. It's a lot like it's a lot like the place I grew up in, and it's in Alaska, and it's a smaller town. So I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, well, they just got a snow dump of like 4 feet, and so it's like the opposite weather.
I've always wanted to go to Alaska since I was a kid. I don't know why.
Okay.
You know, nothing, because I'm not really a big wilderness person or anything, you know, but I don't know why the hell I want to go to Alaska, but I've always wanted to go.
Well, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what's a good way to go, actually? I mean, the cruises are nice, but they're really expensive. The best way, I think, is to go up on the ferry system. So we have something called the Alaska Marine Highway, and part of it is ferry systems in the southeast part because there's no roads, and there's islands and stuff. And so you could take a ferry all the way from Bellingham, Washington, up to like Anchorage and places around there. Oh, okay. And you can go through the Inland Passage, which has all the Tidewater glaciers and stuff, and the eagles and all that. So I think that's a really good way to go. If you have a car, you can put your car in the ferry too. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So then you can get to Alaska and you can drive it, you know, where the road system is. Not everywhere, but where we have a very minimal road system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you gone through Canada too, right?
Yes, I had to drive through Canada. So I went from Fairbanks to like Delta Junction, and then I went to Whitehorse, which is in the Yukon.
Oh.
It's a even more Fairbanks than Fairbanks is how I say it.
Okay.
It's a bit of a rough town. And then I came through British Columbia, which is extremely long.
Oh, yeah.
British Columbia is a giant province. Beautiful, though. Yeah. And then, came down here. Found my way down here. Yeah. Wow. Didn't you ask me about Alaska before? Earlier? What were you going to ask? Something about maybe the trans community or something? Or?
Yeah, I was wanting to know. Like, I've always wanted to. I don't hear much about Alaska, anything.
No. So, I mean, we can have big things happening like this Willow project, right?
Yeah.
But then there will be no coverage. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I didn't even know about. I hadn't heard about that. Until now.
I know. It's terrible. Part of my activism is I've tried to get some journalists down here interested in some stories that happen in Alaska, and I was successful once in doing that, and I'm going to keep seeing if I can keep trying to do that.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to spread the news. What's going on? Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I listen to local news, and if they talked about it on local news, then I would hear about it. But yeah.
Our local news is interesting. It's I think of TV down here as very polished. It's not polished up there. It's almost like you're, those community channels where it's kind of grainy and the sound is bad, kind of like this podcast or video series. But this will be how like the news is done. But they have like a desk and it's super grainy and the sound is bad.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and the graphics are really crude. It's like going back a couple to when I was a kid, like in the 70s. Like it looks like that.
Wow.
It looks like the 70s. But it's right now. Like 50 years ago.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're reporting like they have a conservative spin on it, do they?
Yeah, there's some, Yeah. There's conservatism, there's some liberalism. I wouldn't say there's very much leftism. Yeah. There's a lot more blue, right. Let's say, whatever, in Alaska than people realize, especially in the coastal areas, Alaska Native people. But then you have a lot of white settler people who are jerks, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they go up to Alaska thinking that they're going to escape the lower 48, all those woke people. Oh. And they're going to go up to Alaska. And, so we have quite a mix of people. Some really lovely, absolutely lovely people. Yeah. And then some, like, rejects that nobody wants to be friends with and everybody wants to just go away.
Yeah.
But
like Capitol Stormers.
Yeah, exactly, like those kind of people. And worse. I once saw a story of somebody moving to Kodiak, Alaska because he was a neo-Nazi and he was trying to get away from the lower 48.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, this state also has that problem, too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I remember when I was a teenager here, I was on Lower Westheimer a lot, and I heard rumors of there being billboards for the KKK in Pasadena, which is right outside of Houston. Mm-hmm. And then also there were a lot of skinheads that would come into the gay neighborhood and try and beat people up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still kind of happening? Is that sort of thing? Yeah.
They know they can't be that open about it now. But like it kind of makes me angry because my father was a Marine like in the 70s, 80s. Yes. And like, now they're, conservative. One of the things that, conservatives or neo-Nazis, I don't even know about that, but conservatives do is like, they're like, oh, we need to worship our veterans. And like, when my dad was a veteran in the 70s, like, he would be wearing his uniform, his military uniform, and he still like would be like not allowed entry into certain establishments.
Sure.
Sure. So it just irritates me, but I think they know they're outnumbered now, but it doesn't mean that they're less dangerous. But
no, I mean,
people are still getting lynched.
Look at South Africa. I mean, there was a small white minority that was extremely violent that was holding people hostage. Yeah.
I had a question about Alaska though.
Yeah.
So, are there any big name like trans people in Alaska?
Big name.
But I don't know how to say it. But
I don't. Alaska's not really the place where we have like influencer type people. In fact, they would be made fun of. But I mean, there's one lady who went against our governor at some point because he fired her for a bad reason, that it wasn't legal. And she's pretty cool, and she's kind of, I think her online profile is Hot Mess Alaska or something like that. Anyway, she's pretty cool. She's really great. She's always has something really smart and to say about what the governor's doing, and he's always doing bad stuff. But no, we don't have like a big community. But there are quite a few people in Anchorage. I would say Fairbanks is pretty small. It's only 40,000 people in the city. And then the borough, which is quite large, there's 80,000 people total. And that's as big as like Connecticut or something. I mean, it's like huge. And then, the town I'm going to move to is 4,000 people. So, but I do know of a trans guy up there.
Oh,
so
you do?
And now there are two, and we are everywhere.
Wow.
And he's pretty cute, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same one, but there's...
That's good.
There's an influencer. What? That one?
Anyway.
Am I missing something?
No.
Yeah, but...
I'm just being a homo.
Oh, okay. That's not allowed here.
No.
No, but there's this one influencer on Instagram, and he's a trans guy in Alaska, but I think it's just... I don't think he does anything. I think he's just attractive. I think that's all.
Sure.
I don't know, but...
Oh, okay,
he's
yeah.
a little younger, but
Well, you notice some of those. I think some of those profiles online too. Like, I don't even know who those people are. I don't think anybody really does. And they just put an attractive picture up sometimes. And then
like scars here. Like
who knows? I don't know. I'm not even talking about trans people. I'm just talking in general. And then they eventually, they say some bad. They counter what Trump is saying or whatever it is, whatever shtick they're going to do. And then they start asking for money. It's always like this thing that they do. Anyway. So, you have some plans tonight. And I was thinking we were talking and, it's more adult content, when we were out on the break. But I was wondering about, being in gay male culture, because that's seems like kind of revolutionary for you. You went from being a straight woman, basically. Yeah, and you're more pansexual, so you're kind of all over the place, and me too. So I was wondering if you could talk about that a bit, because that's different. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think like I need to be careful how I act around other men, because if I'm attracted to them and they can tell, like, they're gonna treat me differently, obviously, or like I don't know. I just need to be careful, I guess, because
Careful, why?
Well, I don't know. I'm not used to interacting with men as a man as much as I should be.
So is it more like, oh, you mean for your age? Is that what you mean, or?
I mean, like, yeah. And sometimes, like, I'll say something that I think I'm just like being nice or trying to like boost their self confidence or something.
And it's taken as flirting.
Yeah, they think I'm flirting with them.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
Okay. And then, how are you able to deal with that if they take it as flirting?
Usually I start talking about my husband.
Oh, yes.
And that kind of works, usually.
That's kind of a classic straight women coping skill, too.
Work, though, yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually a really good coping skill that you got from your previous experience.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah.
It's true. It's totally true.
Yeah, it comes in useful, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So you were mentioning you're going out tonight, even. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to a leather bar called Ripcord tonight. So yeah.
Yeah.
That should be fun.
Yeah. So what do you do there? I mean, what's that like?
Sometimes they have drag shows.
Okay.
I don't know if they have one going on tonight or not, but yeah.
Okay.
And they have like an outdoor space. Kind of
yeah.
It's a pretty big bar, so.
Yeah, that's one thing I miss about bars down here in Texas, because I was a teenager here. When you're a teenager, I don't know if that's the same thing here these days, but you could go into bars. The people who could drink got a wristband.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I would go in when I was 18 and whatever. I went to Numbers, actually, which is down on Lower Westheimer.
I've never been to Numbers.
It's still around.
Yeah.
It's still
I
around.
want to go.
I've never been either. I want to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday I passed by, actually it was a couple days ago, I passed by the old Axiom, which was a punk bar. And I drove by and I was like, oh, that was the Axiom, but it's all boarded up now.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, this was a long time ago, so of course it's boarded up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I heard a lot of the gay bars and just bars in general, but a lot of the gay bars closed down during COVID.
oh, during
And
COVID,
haven't reopened. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I
really?
heard.
huh? So
That was kind of before I moved here. So
right. And as I've been traveling around, actually, I've been looking up restaurants, like local, barbecue places or whatever. And sometimes I go there because it's still in Google, but it's closed.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's a casualty, once again, of COVID. That's too bad because, like the Montrose Lower Westheimer, at least when I was a teenager, there were so many. There were dozens of gay bars. Dozens.
Oh no.
Yeah. How about you? You go out to those bars?
I like bars more than I like clubs because I am more of a sit and talk.
Okay.
with my
Rather than
friends.
like dancing or.
Yeah, if I dance, it means I've had a lot to drink.
Okay.
Because otherwise, I'm stiff as a board, and I don't.
Okay.
And I don't like.
I love dancing.
Yeah.
I really love
Yes.
dancing too.
Oh,
do?
yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm rather slinky.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. You wouldn't like looking at me with my rough beard or whatever, but I'm actually very slinky.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I would have never, guessed that y'all like dancing.
Oh,
but-
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
also,
like
I
to if
grew
I'm
up-
drunk.
Oh yeah.
You grew
I
up
grew up
with-
taking dance classes too.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh.
Oh, like what?
like hip hop, tap, jazz.
Oh.
Okay.
Did some ballet, but I wasn't as interested in that.
Oh, ballet.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really
I could
cool.
see you actually doing ballet.
That's
No,
funny.
really. Because you're kind of smaller, and lean.
Yeah, I have like a dancer's body still, kind of from
Right.
like.
Yeah.
from-
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the guy that, like, you're sitting at the bar and people have to approach. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, normally people don't because I'm usually with friends or like no. Yeah, I don't go there looking for somebody because I assume that no one's gonna come over to me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What are you doing tonight? Because you could come with.
Yeah. There you
Well,
go.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm trying to get in touch with my friends too, see if they
Okay.
want to come too.
Yeah,
but
that
I
would
don't
be
know.
great.
Yeah, but I don't go to bars to like find people. I just go to have a drink.
Yeah,
really.
sure.
I don't even. That's not my first choice of places to go either.
Yeah.
I prefer like boba shops,
What is that?
like boba tea,
A bubble tea.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So cafes, basically.
like ones that they serve like drinks like smoothies
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
with boba in it.
Right.
So like, And like, so it's like, because they have games a lot, and you can play games like board tabletop games. I like to do that. So that's my favorite thing to do with friends.
Oh, okay.
I brought some in case when you get to like.
I wonder if that would be like a good event. You know, like maybe the group that you're in could organize something like that.
They always do that.
There's a game night every month, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a popular thing to do because it's so great. Like it's fun. It gets people together. It gets people talking. So,
and it gives people a space to not be, intoxicated as well. Like if they're sober or they just don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and arts and crafts I like to do with friends.
Okay.
Like, so I like to spend. I don't really. I mean, I can drink anywhere. I don't have to be at a bar. You know, and
what arts and crafts?
Like a wood painting, you know, or like painting in general. That's what I like to do. Sewing sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you sew, by the way?
Pants, like I hem them.
Oh, you
can sew my
you
pants.
could you could start a business doing that.
I know, the trans mask life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did it for survival for that because
become a tailor. And,
yeah.
Do
Well,
everybody's
so I don't
wedding suits.
Yeah, that's. I just assume like when I buy adult men's clothes, anything I'm gonna have to fix it myself.
Yeah, in San Francisco there were shops in the Mission, which is traditionally a Hispanic area, which is not now. It's like turning more white.
Yeah.
But the shops there, because they were catering to men who were often shorter, they would offer tailoring.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah,
awesome.
you're buying some Dickies.
Oh, okay.
And they would just hem the bottom for you.
Yeah, I like that wraparound service. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I could open a business, but I'm still practicing it. I think I want to master it before.
Okay.
You know, so
often community colleges offer courses like that. You know.
Oh.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You should look it up.
Cool.
Yeah, if I had an extra lifetime, I would do that.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you do any crafts, anything like that?
No, I play D&D.
Yeah.
For fun,
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. It's amazing how, like, that game always comes back. Like, there's just successive waves of it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I love Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of I'm not very good at sitting down and focusing on something for hours at a time, and that's the one thing that I'm able to do.
Really?
Even music? I mean, you're a musician.
Yeah, but not for hours.
Okay. But you could do that with D&D.
Yeah.
Do you use a voice? Like, do you become a character?
Sometimes.
Oh.
I'm not that good at it.
Because I like
voices.
D&D, but I don't do the voice thing. That's corny to
I'm
me.
not that good at the voices or anything, but...
I've never actually played it.
But there's
It's
a certain
fun.
amount
Anybody
of
can
role-playing.
play it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
The role-playing is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got into it too recently. If we can have a campaign or something.
There you go.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Or trans D&D.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is fun. It's not as hard as people think it is, because people think it's like this, but it's actually just role playing.
Yeah.
And rolling dice.
Yeah.
The rules are pretty simple.
Yeah. Because growing up, they made it seem like it was some sort of like Magic the Gathering, like it was an actual game with a lot of rules and you have to learn, but it's not so.
Okay.
So anybody can play.
Yeah.
It's like,
when it was popular initially, I was actually out of the country, so I just missed that whole thing.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But when was that?
Like the early mid 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where were you at?
I lived in Zambia for a while. Yeah. And I also missed comic books. So any kind of references like that, it just goes whoop, right over my head. No, seriously. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even alive during the 80s, so...
Yeah, okay, there you go. I can one-up you then. I was there in the 80s. I was doing my dancing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, when were you born?
92.
92.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was born in 70.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
When were you born again?
1996.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm like your parents' age.
No, my parents they were born in the 50s.
Okay.
my
Okay.
parents are
Oh,
really old.
they're older. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom had me when she was 39.
Oh, wow. That's older. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when my mom had me, she was like 29, and that was considered older at the time, you know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But now women are having babies a lot later.
That's true.
Yeah. different kind of healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my mom had me at 32, and that was like not considered too much of a, not too old, but then she had my sister when she was 40, so at that point it was considered high risk.
Yeah, that's significant. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a lot of tests.
My mom, I was high risk, and I was, because they say that, the older you are when you have a baby, the more likely they're going to be born with something like a birth defect, and I have a cleft lip and cleft palate.
Oh, okay. And
they say that it was because she had diabetes and because she was older. So it's like, I was more in the running for it.
Okay.
And maybe it might be trans too. Nah, just kidding. But like, I think that came from just genetics somewhere else. But yeah, I wasn't going anywhere with that. I was just sharing because.
No, it's interesting that you mentioned genetics with being trans, because I don't know if there's a link there. I don't think there's been that much research into that area, but that would be really interesting.
But also, there's this whole thing about medicalism around being trans. I don't think we have to prove who we are.
No.
Because for some people it really is. It's not a physical thing. It's how they think of themselves. Mm-hmm. It's their in interior life.
Yeah.
Or how they want to relate to people. It's less of a physical thing. So that's a bit tricky.
Yeah, true. There's already a lot of medicalization.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about that because I can see how it can be affirming, because you know how some people are, they say that, if you look at a brain scan, the differences between gray area of your brain shows what gender you are.
Sure.
Right? And they're like, this can prove that trans people.
I don't think they need to prove anything.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no test that needs to be done to determine.
Exactly. Imagine if you're a trans person, you had to prove you're trans by showing a brain scan.
Right.
That wouldn't work. That's very.
And where's that cutoff too?
Yeah. So I can see how it's it's evidence for people who are trying to trying to prove that trans sex exists.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you do that, what if your brain scan doesn't show up?
Right.
Like the gender you identify as. Are you not really trans?
Right. And there's a lot there's much more diversity to humans than we talk about.
Gender isn't a binary.
Yeah.
There's gender, right? And then also there's the physical. There's so much diversity. Mm-hmm. All the different kinds of washing of the brain and different chemicals in utero and genetic differences, intersex. I mean, there's just a lot.
Yeah.
PCOS. There's all kinds of things.
I produced high enough levels of testosterone before I transitioned that I had to be on an extremely high dose of testosterone blockers and
interesting.
Estrogen supplements.
Oh, wow.
And progesterone. Wow. So, and I was on that for a few years.
Prior to transitioning.
Yeah, I was on that for at least a few years before I transitioned.
Yeah.
Wow.
It made me feel terrible. But
oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. That's wild. You're the first person I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, I haven't met anyone else that really had that situation. But...
I had PCOS, which is pretty common.
Okay, yeah.
It's masculinizing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had a little puff beard, a little tiny one.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, I refused to shave it.
Yeah.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's pivot a little bit just so that we can fit this in this interview. Let's talk a little bit about the political stuff, right? We keep wanting to go there and then we're not. So you were mentioning some of the actual bills. Do you want to maybe look that up for a second and then we'll talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'll take a break for a second. Okay, so we thought we'd pivot to some of the bills just to round out this interview because there's a lot going on here in Texas. Every time I see one of those maps where they're talking about the concentration of bills in different places, Texas is the darkest color or bright red or something like that. There's a lot going on here that's not so good. So go for it.
I want to say it is sad that we had to take time to pick out which bill we want to talk about because there is a lot. There's so many and they're all, oppressive towards us, towards our community. And I wish before I even start talking about the bill I'm going to talk about, I wish that people understood that it's not normal for any kind of person to have to hear about like a number of bills against their livelihood.
Right.
That's not normal. That is persecution.
Yeah.
That if that's not what that is, that definitely feels like it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
and it's targeting all facets of life too. Right?
Yeah, and it goes after kids too. In fact, quite a lot. So not even the kids are safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So there is no line that they won't cross. But
Right.
so like economically, help, physically, everything. They're trying to take away everything, and so it is really sad. I think people don't realize how serious this issue is, and people don't care because it's not at their doorstep yet. So this our trans community is just no one's really hearing it. No one can understand. A lot of people say we deserve it. They agree. So it's like not something it sucks. And
Yeah.
It's just not.
And we're such a tiny community too.
Yeah, we don't have much, helping us anyway. So
Yeah, right.
But okay, so the bill I'm going to talk about is really recent. It's House Bill 1266, and it classifies any business that hosts a drag show as a sexually oriented business. And it fines them, so it bans anybody under 18 from seeing them. And if some kind of place is having a drag show and it turns out that there was a kid in the audience, someone below 18, they can get fined for that.
Wow.
So, restrictions on censorship, and it's people don't realize the implications of that, right? So a drag show it's not inherently sexual.
Right.
A lot of the culture around it can be cheeky because it's entertainment. It's supposed to be
Right.
But it's like drag show, you can't the drag culture is not just sexual.
Right.
It's so much more, and it's an expression of art. And not only adults can do it, kids can do it too. And
I've even seen cisgendered straight people do drag.
Yeah.
In drag bars.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Or even just on Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween, right? In Shakespeare plays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the strongest arguments is that it's been around.
Yeah.
It predates so many other things.
Right, and so many popular movies. I mean, Tootsie and Miss Doubtfire and
Yeah, man.
Bugs Bunny. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's so many implications of this because it's not really just about the drag shows. It's about, you're making something like this, you're closing it off to kids, which means that it's not a kid's thing, and defying gender norms and being a self-expressive person is very discouraged right now. And
I think it would be really hard to kind of come out as queer or trans right now.
Exactly.
Like we've gone way backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. And they, they're always trying to show, they're always trying to say everybody who gets caught, sexually assaulting or, with minors, or, they always try to, pin it on, somebody who's gay, or, and it's, in actuality, it's, somebody from a church or something. But,
Right. Yeah.
And there was another bill, or I think it was the same one, I'm not sure, but it was, for a drag hour, drag story time,
And that's just dressing up and reading a book to kids.
To kids, yeah.
That's not even dancing or anything.
Yeah. Exactly. So, what message does it send, to people that we're being looked at in that light? I know when I say we, because in my opinion, bills like this, it is about drag, but we inadvertently automatically will trans people are going to get affected too.
Oh yeah, of course.
Anything along the gender, they're seeing as the same.
Right.
So. Right,
because if somebody is socially transitioning, or maybe they're even non-binary or something like that, so they're maybe, to use the term cross-dressing, they're wearing whatever they want, whatever feels comfortable for them, and that could be illegal.
Yeah. Or they could get questioned or harassed because, so it's...
Yeah.
I mean, cross-dressing used to be illegal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A long time ago, but...
At Stonewall, that was a riot in a bar, with a bunch of queer people, and bars like that were targeted by the police all the time, and there were actual rules about the number of male or female clothes that you could wear. Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, that was the law. That used to be the law. So it's almost like they want to bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they could have it their way, that'd be back, and a lot more. Everything racist, everything misogynist would be back.
Right. Well,
So.
Tennessee just the other day, There was a legislator there that said he wants to bring back lynching, right? So murder. He wants to bring back murder as racist murders. Right. Yeah, I know. You guys look stunned.
To say it openly, though, I mean, a lot of people want that, but I mean...
Yeah. Well, those are the people that voted for him.
Yeah.
That he's representing, and I'm sure he's representing them very well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's just scary how much hate is in people's hearts. Like, if people don't see a problem with believing that and thinking it's okay, like, it's just...
Right. I used to think when some activists, I thought they were exaggerating that people wanted us dead. But now I'm like, they really do want us dead.
The thing is, if they're going to literally ban the care that saves our lives, that it's equivalent.
Right. Or
they don't want us alive.
Take away people's kids.
What? Like,
right.
You know, and people can say, "Oh, I'm going to leave Texas." I mean, I heard someone say it best. Especially me. I'm a person of color. I'm Mexican American. I was here before these people.
Right.
We were here before. All right. I didn't cross the border crossed me.
Right.
So why should I have to be the one that leaves? Right. Something that I do, I'd be nice to leave. It'd be nice, you know. But in fact, I know a trans couple, a trans woman who left the U.S. with her wife, and they had a baby, and they live in Scotland now. Like, they had the means to do that. I'm happy for them, but that's a privileged thing to do.
Yes.
They probably had money if they're a little bit older, too.
Oh, of course.
So I'm like, okay, well, that's nice. Not everyone has that luxury, you know.
Right.
And I'm not even sure if I would be willing to leave, because why should I be the one? They're the problem, you know.
Yeah.
But...
And also, you probably have some deep familial roots here and the culture of the place. You know, there's definitely some good aspects of Texas, of the culture down here versus other places. Other places also have racism up in north. We try to pretend that that doesn't happen, but it does. Right?
Exactly.
Chicago, you know.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how is Texas different than Chicago in terms of like the trans community?
That's an interesting that you're asking me that. But I actually didn't come out as trans until I moved to Texas.
Okay. All right. So you don't know.
I'm not entirely sure that it's better up north, but because Illinois is also, you know, it's a blue state, but only because of Chicago. Only because Chicago has so many people.
Right.
That's the only reason it's a blue state.
Yeah.
So, I think it might be similar being in Texas or being in Houston because Houston is a blue city.
So you go outside of it and it's like...
Well, I try not to. I don't know. Honestly, I'm like scared to leave Houston.
Yeah.
Or at least I was. Right. When I didn't pass as well.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And now, in a way, too, you have to not necessarily worry. I was going to use the word worry, but that's the programming, right? You got to worry, which is just awful. It's awful that's in me now to worry. But you have to think about being also a gay man. Being read as a gay man out in the world.
Yeah,
right?
and I know I am.
Yeah, you are. Totally. Which is fabulous. During our break, I was like, you know, you're a treasure. I love meeting gay men who are so comfortable with themselves in that way. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Even despite you just coming out like recently in your feature, recently, you're at home with it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I admire that, I mean.
Yeah, because even, like, gay male culture, there's, like, the straight passing or hypermasculinity and misogyny in there, you know, which is terrible. Yeah. Yeah.
One of my only points of privilege is being able to pass as straight if I want to. So, yeah. I think that helps me a lot. Have you done that? Have you exercised I do it by, I mean, because before, if you get, you know, like, unless you get me talking about a certain thing, I think I can still, without even trying, pass as a straight. I think people, that's what I hear, you know. If you get me to talk about something queer, you know, like, I'll be like, oh my, I'll get jumpy and, like, you know, then people start to show more, but people can't usually tell.
Yeah, I mean, I had to ask.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
asking for my friend.
So that's I don't have to try normally. If anything, I might silence a couple of things about me. Like I might, for example, for me, it's not about how I act. It's more about the things I say and my opinions. Like for example, if I start talking about intersectionality, if I say the whole acronym LGBTQIA+, no cis straight person's gonna say that. You know,
right.
they might, but I mean, it's like no one's gonna. We talk about things in a certain way.
Right.
Once you hear that, you can tell there's some relation under the rainbow or what you know. So in that way, I might out myself, but physically, you know.
Do you ever find yourself holding back those things when you're in certain settings?
Oh yeah, if I'm in like a inner city place where there's like you'll get picked on if you're not like a man's man or something.
Right.
I might lower my voice an octave, like like if I'm appreciate it, thanks.
Or not say anything and just do the nod.
Yeah, like that.
Right.
Yeah, because I grew up in like a place where there was only like black and brown people, black or African American, and like Hispanic people, and like.
It's interesting your nod is up, because my experience in Texas was the nod was down. And that's probably a cultural difference.
Yeah.
But mine was like, if you pass by a guy,
Yeah.
a white guy, you gave the nod.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were like, "What's up with you?"
Yeah, that's something I had to learn.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And it
It's
was
a Texas
interesting.
thing.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like the longer I was on T,
Yeah.
and then going for walks around the neighborhood, and that was something like people expected, and I had to learn. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta nod at them or something.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're like, "Huh?
Yeah.
Are you not respecting me?" Yeah, it's like
And I'm also not from the South, so
almost like a threat of
Yeah.
violence behind it too. Even
Yeah. I think actually, come to think of it, I think with white men I do that.
Yeah, it's the down one.
With like the mouth.
It's like a tip of a hat almost.
Yeah, but
It's almost a tip of
they,
the hat.
they always do this to like with their mouth. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they're making their lips even thinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a very thin lip guy, by the way. You are not. You have some really nice lips.
Oh, thank you.
Mine,
yeah.
mine are super thin. I have my dad's lips.
But now they're being overcome by the beard.
That's right.
you know.
It covers my lips
Yeah.
and my ugly teeth.
Your teeth are
Hopefully.
pretty good to me. They look good.
Yeah, I broke them when I was a kid. I was a little rough when I was a kid, like trying to play football and on ice and stuff. I just broke a bunch of them. So there you go.
Top activities.
Yeah. Are you outing me?
I guess I did. Huh?
I guess you did. No, I would just get smashed a lot because if I don't know if you've had this experience, but when I was a little girl, I'd try to play with the boys, and if I ever bested them or even came close, it was like the smackdown happened. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did not want to be bested by a girl.
So fragile.
Oh yes, so fragile, and it starts early. It starts so early.
Really early.
Yeah. I remember, too, this is kind of a confession, but I remember faking that I didn't know how to do math because there were boys around me, and I didn't want to appear smarter.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's terrible.
Isn't
That
that
is
fucked up?
sad. Like you had to act smaller.
First grade. I did that in first grade.
That is so sad.
Yeah, I know. Where did I get that? I have no idea. So weird.
When young girls are silencing themselves
Yeah.
for the sake of others, that's just very...
Yeah. But how did I know that if I was smarter, that was going to be a bad thing? You know?
That's a good question.
It's weird.
That's a good rhetorical
so
question.
Weird. Yeah. Did you all experience anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in the drum line.
Mm.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's
Marching band.
yeah, like that's a male dominated
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Very
drum line.
athletic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
so I did not. In fact, I quit early, even though I liked it. I did quit early because it made me hate it because I hated the way I was being treated. You know?
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just, just assholes and not wanting to be vested by a female and treating me badly. I got bullied a lot just by every gender really, but I got bullied by men and guys, even as a girl.
Yeah.
So, so I just had this thing about guys not trusting them, not liking them, being repulsed by them even.
That's interesting that you want to date them now too.
Because now I'm myself, I don't have anything to fear.
How do you work that? How did you work that out?
It worked itself out because I just found that I did kind of find guys attractive.
Okay.
I did want to, want to experience the penis.
Okay.
This might be different, like if they see you as a man instead, or as a guy instead of.
Yeah. I just feel safer, and so anything that goes is fine, but like, yeah, it's true. Because I don't know if I'm supposed to, because I'm not going to talk about the nitty gritty. I'm not sure when it crosses that line. But growing up, I knew that I liked girls, right? Because but I kept I kept experimenting with men or with guys because I wanted to really, really confirm that I didn't like guys.
Okay.
So I kept doing it over and over again.
That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. But, because I was trying to figure out what, and so...
Yeah.
But I was like, if you asked me back then, I'd be like, no, I'm gay. I'm a stud, because I was like, I presented as like a soft stud.
As a lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And,
I don't know what that's like.
yeah, exactly.
I was more of a dyke.
Yeah. I think a stud is like POC is like culture, like black or Hispanic or something, like a stud.
Right.
It's not really butch, it's more of a, so I was a soft stud, meaning that I didn't have short hair and like butch, or I was like, but I wore like men's clothes and I had long hair and like I was in the middle, like mix, right?
Yeah.
And so that's...
So a little bit of a cream puff in there.
Yeah. So, so that's how I define myself.
I tried to be really hard.
Yeah, but maybe deep down I did always like guys.
I was so phony. Yeah, maybe, huh? Yeah.
So I think that's why I kept trying over and over again, because I was like, I guess I did like them. I didn't allow myself to enjoy it because I was jealous of them for being men, and because I was intimidated by them.
Yes.
And a lot of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But now that I'm myself,
safety reasons too. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would they respect you for who you were?
Yeah. But I guess not. Now that I'm a trans guy and this guy's talking to me like they're just come on, like, hurry up, or I don't have a condom, hurry up, like, I guess like that.
Yeah, it's a different culture. It's a different culture.
So they didn't get any nicer, but I mean, I guess like it can roll off the shoulder. If that happens to me, it's fine. Like at least I'm myself now, so I don't whatever. So
there's less of an investment, or what's going on there?
I don't know. I guess it's just like, first of all, I'm talking like I have a lot of experience. I don't, especially as myself. Like, that's why I wanted to try again with men, as me, but that hasn't happened yet. I haven't.
Okay.
Because I don't put myself out there, I don't, in bars, I don't, go out looking for that. I just wanted to fall in my lap. No pun intended, I guess. But, I just...
You're funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so I let it come to me, but nothing's coming. No pun intended. But like,
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another one. Pivot to the serious stuff again. Another bill we're going to talk about. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's called HB 1029. It's a bill that was introduced recently for the state of Texas, and it would prohibit the use of taxpayer resources toward gender reassignment.
And what would that include?
So that would include like surgery. It would also include hormones or hormone blockers, and basically
therapy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, anything.
Yeah. And is that about like public clinics, public hospitals, insurance, any insurance, or just like some sort of state plan? I don't know what's here in Texas.
So it does.
I'd be surprised if there was a state plan.
It specifically says that no funds authorized or appropriated by state law shall be expended for any gender reassignment.
Okay. So if a hospital has like a trans night where they have like a somebody there who is a welcoming kind of environment for trans people, then they could lose funding.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's
even like
yeah.
people of lower income
right.
that are on the state funded
Yeah. Like ACA,
insurance,
ACA,
yeah.
Medicaid.
Right, Medicaid, yeah. Any of that wouldn't cover.
Right. So in order to get any care, you would have to go to like a private clinic with private insurance. But it sounds like also even that is being threatened.
Yeah, even that, because the bill would also say that, let's see, any doctor, basically any medical professional who performed or performs any kind of gender reassignment care is going to be liable to the patient for reversing any of the care that they've given.
Okay.
So it would at least make doctors less likely to care for trans people. Which
What if
is already an
somebody
issue.
has a hysterectomy?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And it specifically has a clause for intersex people, where it says that any kind of care for intersex people wouldn't be covered, or wouldn't be included in this bill.
Okay,
so
so
that would be an exception.
Okay.
Oh.
So they
Yeah.
could. So doctors could still intervene, often non-consensually,
Yeah.
on infants and little kids to change somebody's external genitalia, etc., in an intersex condition, which is often without the consent of parents,
Yeah.
and obviously not
Even
the kid.
still?
Yeah, even still. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's...
Oh yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the records are buried, and so there's an exception for that. So it's about control. It's about control of people's bodies.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
And that would have a chilling effect. So even if a clinic is very welcoming, very affirming of trans people, and wants to care for them, they wouldn't be able to, right? Because of funding being pulled and the threat of liability, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's hard to swallow.
Yeah. So, is this going through the process right now?
I think so, yeah.
So it hasn't...
It was introduced...
It hasn't passed yet.
Last week, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really recent. Basically that would detransition everybody in the state, right?
Yes.
So you wouldn't be able to get hormones here.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to get therapy. So has anybody been talking about what they're doing or else otherwise, or?
I did hear about a protest that's going to happen.
Yeah, I would hope so.
But it's on like Monday.
Yeah.
Which, unless I take off work,
right,
I'm not going to be able to go.
Right. It's very worrisome.
Yeah, but it's not the first and it won't be the last.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I heard that Texas has their legislature every 2 years, so they're really shoving in a bunch right now. Yeah. Yeah. That's so worrying.
It's kind of like how, if you're undocumented here and you're covered by DACA, and then they always try to take away that too, so people are always afraid of having to get sent back,
Right.
Even though the
Right.
person I used to date,
and it's the same thing too. Like they take away the kids, and
Yeah.
it's all the same
yeah,
shit.
so, I know people can understand how it feels for that threat to be there, but, it doesn't mean that every immigrant is going to understand the trans community, even though there's so much, not so much, I'd say there's some similarities.
Yeah, some.
Like this one specifically is very similar, like that feeling of always being, under a threat.
Yeah. Yeah, even if it doesn't pass, clinics are going to rethink whether they're going to offer care.
It's only going to make it harder for
Yeah.
us to actually find doctors to care for us, which I
It's already
but
hard.
it's already hard to find.
Yeah, even if you have good insurance, even if you have money, it's still hard.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I tried to get care down here when I first came down from Alaska, and I was told there was a 6-month waiting list. I came to find out later that that's actually short.
Yeah.
There's like year-long and 2-year-long
They wouldn't even put
lists.
me on the list for Houston for
There
the
you go.
clinic.
Oh,
They wouldn't
yeah.
put me on the list because
Come
it
on,
was so
Legacy.
long. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm seeing a doctor in Austin.
Okay.
And I see her through telemedicine.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing that's coming up. And luckily, I mean, this is one of the silver linings of COVID. That's actually increased telehealth, which is good for trans people in the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely saved my life. So.
Yeah.
It's just very sad. It's hard because you have to be aware for your own you have to be aware of what's happening as a trans person. But sometimes it's heavy stuff to have to. It's always heavy, you know, and it's not. It shouldn't be that way, you know, but it is, and no one seems to care. And
you know, and I don't mean to be so doom and gloom, but I actually know people who've known me for years, and I thought were cool about me. And I find them saying weird things, like saying all the bad stuff. It rocks me when that happens.
Yeah. Very discouraging. Very, I can
Yeah.
relate a lot to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so strange. It's like the only people I can trust are trans people or something.
Yeah, and even they might say something a little funny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's still racism, and there's still some homophobia and anti-trans
Still internalized
shame.
transphobia.
Yeah. Lots of shame.
Yeah.
Or judgment, like you're not quite there or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is to people. Why would we want to do that to one another? I don't.
Yeah.
You know, but
That's why I love the non-binary people so much. Like, they're just like, I'm just me. You know?
yeah. Normally they're not tied down by like those like binary kind of toxicity.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally, but you know, if they are toxic, or show like maladaptive behaviors towards others, it's not because of gender. It might be because of something else. But you know,
undiagnosed illness or something.
Yeah.
Trauma.
Yeah, trauma.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of trauma out there. Yeah.
I don't know. I have my fair share, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's unfortunately there's deep ruts in that trail. Yeah. You know, or I recently gave up alcohol, and that's a thing, right?
that's great though.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
At first, it was absolute hell, but I'm getting more and more used to it, and I actually love it. So.
Was this the trigger for you?
No.
Okay.
No, I did think about it, though, because I did see those in there.
Oh yeah.
And it's actually okay, because I need those triggers, because alcohol is everywhere.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I just need to deal with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I actually feel great. I felt like when I was drinking heavily, I actually missed out on my life somewhat.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I really want to live and live really well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you're following kind of your heart by doing these kind of things. So.
Oh, yeah. And I get to meet, fabulous people like you and, see different cities and come back here, when I was a teenager here and see how it's different and see how there's still the numbers around, which is so strange to me.
Yeah, that one survived.
And, Laura Westheimer still looks pretty seedy down there. I mean,
yeah.
It's not too much gentrifying down there.
Yeah.
That's not too far from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got to say, too, in the good old, bad old days, had a lot of fun, too.
Yeah.
All those bars, all that dancing, Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Punk shows, new wave shows. Saw the Butthole Surfers, in small venues.
That's
the
cool.
Swans, Genesis Peorage, DOA, MDC.
Okay.
I mean, all these old, punk bands. Glass Eye from Austin, Texas. They were great.
Okay.
Lots of cowpunk bands, so it was like country and punk at the same time.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
So
cool.
good. So much fun. Oh yeah, and I made out with so many people to all those shows.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Or like slammed and like just like
Oh.
wild child.
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on a little bit sour note, a little bittersweet, but now we're talking about
Full circle.
Yeah,
right.
totally, and I wish you two good luck. You're dealing with a lot in the state. Yeah, a lot, and it's more than just the laws. It's also the culture of the place. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking that time to come out and interview us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. And thank you for inviting this person here. I was about to say her name. Thank you for inviting him out today. This is great. Yeah. I actually like doing these kind of mixed interviews where it's like more than one person. When it's one-on-one, it's a different conversation. But I felt like this was good because we were talking about community issues and the laws and stuff. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for listening and putting our voice out there.
Yeah. It's nice to meet you. All right, y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have a few more here in Houston, and then I'm going back to Austin for one more day, and then up to Tyler, and then Oklahoma City for a couple weeks, and then I'm back in Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually have to buy some more winter clothes because when I left, I gave them away to people, and so I have to get some more winter clothes because it's still winter. It's still going to be winter. Yeah. Winter doesn't end till like June. So.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's been in the 80s this week here in Houston.
Yeah. Oh, that's talking about Alaska. It's like 80s.
Yeah. All right. Good night, y'all.
Thank you.
All right.